The reality is that there is no way to extricate ourselves from this situation right now. There's no way to extricate ourselves from this situation by simply running away. That does not leave Iran in control of the Strait of Hormuz, which means $100 to $150 barrels of oil from here to forever. There is no way out but through.
Told you. In the beginning, they go, oh, it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be a cake. Well, we'll be done in a couple of days, good max couple of weeks. And then once you're already stuck in the quagmire, then they're like, there's nothing we can do about it. It's a quagmire. We just gotta go in deeper and deeper and deeper. Yeah. That's the only way out. No way out except through. Okay, if you think that was bad, wait till you get a lot of Sean Hannity's flip-flops. So what we're gonna show you in this segment, other than the fact that we are putting in ground troops, which is devastating, is how the echo chamber created by Israel first has created the environment in which, oh golly gee, are we stuck fighting Israel's war? No. I guess we are.
That's a shame.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's no way out, but not out at all. It's good advice. Like when I accidentally drive into a lake, I gun the engine so hard. And that's what you gotta do when you're being paid to tell people to do that. So anyway, that was a clip from Ben Shapiro, if the voice didn't clue you in. We have more actually.
Now, one of the things that's happening right now is this bizarre media-driven ADHD idea that the American people are sitting there on tenterhooks every single hour of every single day thinking, when is it over? When is it over? Here is the thing. If you look historically, the American people actually have some patience. And during Vietnam, the Viet Cong counted on the idea that Americans would get tired, that Americans would get bored. And after a while, they were right. Americans did get tired. After a while, they were right. Americans did want out. We should know that there were 50,000 American dead by that point. In Iraq and Afghanistan too, our enemies thought, okay, they can just outlast the Americans. But here is the point. To outlast Americans typically requires not months, not weeks, years. Because Americans are not nearly as stupid as our enemies think we are.
Oh my God, that was broadcast directly from Bizarro Land. First of all, he literally tisked you. Did you hear that? Here's what's actually going on. He just promised years of war. He just promised, like, you're not stupid. He said people might get bored, get frustrated. No, get, Ben. Day one, they did not want this. Way before day one, day negative 390 or so, I'm pretty sure they voted exactly against this. There's no getting against the war. They were always against the war. They're just more against the war with every passing day. This isn't a thing of waiting days or weeks or years to see if people eventually get off their tenterhooks and have a problem with this conflict. They never had any interest in this conflict. And neither you on the media side or Donald Trump on the political side have done literally anything to convince them that they have any vested interest whatsoever in what's being done. They have no political interest, they have no international interest, certainly no economic interest. You have an economic interest. You're being paid to say the sort of BS propaganda that you were just spreading right there, but it is convincing no one. It's barely even holding your audience together at this point. And I know we'll have more. I want to give you a chance.
Yeah, just real quick, guys. So he said Americans get bored of war. No, Americans die in war. We're not at all bored. That's not the issue, right? Secondly, John's right. So you say that we didn't stay long enough in Vietnam and Afghanistan?
And Iraq.
We stayed 20 years in Afghanistan. So we went in the span of 1 month from, oh, this will be over in a couple of weeks to, well, obviously we have to stay longer than 20 years. Okay, I mean, they're not even trying to hide that, hey, this is Israel first and only, and you should all shut up and do as you're commanded by the government that Ben Shapiro actually loves, the Israeli government.
We have a demonstration of how quickly the references to history have turned. Take a look at this.
It turns out that coherent, solid action, we're not talking here gigantic wars, we are talking about operations like this one, targeted action, can provide serious upside and limited downside. And that's what we are talking about right here. That is the counterfactual that we should be looking at right now. Turns out the only counterfactual is not Iraq or Vietnam. It boggles my mind that we are talking about endless war right now. Can I just say that people who are saying that this is an endless war and we are 3 days in, stop being children. If you look at President Trump's record of military interventionism, do you truly believe that this president is going to get sucked into a war involving hundreds of thousands of American troops on the ground? If you do, you are a moron or a liar.
That was less than 1 month ago. By the way, in his first term, Donald Trump did not pull us out of any of the forever wars that we were in. They love to say he didn't get us into any new ones. He also didn't end any of them. And then he whined and whined and whined when Joe Biden finally did. And so that 3 weeks ago, this isn't gonna be Iraq and Vietnam. Now he's talking about it like, think about the great example of our experiences in Iraq and Vietnam. And high gain, no cost. No cost. Well, at that point, the average price per gallon of gasoline hadn't yet gone up $1. That is up now $1 per gallon. Basically, every product that you buy is going to be more expensive because of how jacked up diesel fuel is going to be. The price of fertilizer is also massively rising. These are all things that we were worried about because we were children a month ago. Our betters, our superiors weren't worried about that sort of thing. Of course, he's rich. Why would he be worried about it? And now that it's come, shut up about that. Shut up about the costs that you're paying because I got a whole lot more costs coming. And it's not just him. We're focusing on Ben Shapiro, but it's also Sean Hannity. At the beginning of the war, just a couple of weeks ago, he was saying all these people talking about us getting involved in a big war, boots on the ground. You guys are fools. You don't know what you're talking about. But slowly, over time, very gradually, but inexorably, he moved those goalposts. Take a look.
It's not part of the Trump doctrine. There's not going to be boots on the ground. It's not going to be an endless war. I mean, there are still idiots out there that actually think Donald Trump is going to put boots on the ground. He's not. Now, they've left open the door, the possibility if there is a remote situation that might need a strategic placement. At some point, I would imagine Americans are going to be on the ground in Iran, helping them extract their oil and get their economy back in place. But I'm pretty certain also that the U.S. will insist that they pay for their own liberation. I can see two scenarios where there might be a necessity for some boots on the ground. And I know that goes against the Trump doctrine and what he has done up to this point, with the exception of Maduro and Venezuela. And number one, if there is a risk that the 460 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium, which can be turned into weapons grade 90% enrichment in just 7 to 10 days, if there is a chance that could fall into the wrong hands, I could see American involvement at a deeper level. Also, the question of Kharg Island, which is the lifeblood of the entire Iranian economy.
Yeah, so from just a couple of weeks past, you're an idiot if you think it will happen under any circumstances. What part of no new wars didn't you understand when Trump said it? To maybe a couple little things, and then no, it actually would be awesome if we were to take Kharg, literally just steal their territory, just park a couple thousand American troops down in drone and missile range, because we want the oil and all that stuff. Also, we need to, after we obliterated their nuclear program last year, and then we double obliterated it this year, as long as there is any uranium in that country, in 1 week, they can have a bomb, no matter how obliterated they are, multiple layers of obliteration. And so that is how you shift those goalposts. That is how you try to get your audience to sign up for boots on the ground, Kharg Island, maybe the coast. Ben Shapiro said they can't be allowed to control the Strait of Hormuz. It's off their coast, it's theirs. What, are you gonna move Iran? How is that supposed to work? Is he talking about a permanent deployment of what, US naval assets into the Strait of Hormuz to stop them from ever firing on it again? It's a madness.
Or maybe we could take it with our ground troops and then hand it over to Israel as another buffer zone.
Yeah.
And where it's safe, where the Israelis occupy it and settle it. Anyways, let's hope they don't go there. Okay, so guys, I have a unique perspective on this because I already went to this movie over 20 years ago in the Iraq War. We were on the air, Young Turks' oldest show in online history. And in the old days, the difference was that we would play those same exact clips from Hannity about the Iraq War, and everyone else would gaslight us and go, nope, no, he's right, you're wrong. They didn't say that it was gonna be easy. I'm like, they're on tape saying it's going to be easy. And with Iraq, they said the same exact thing. It'll take a couple of weeks. One guy said it'll only cost $1.2 billion, the whole operation. Now, this war is costing us $1 billion a day. 1 to 2 billion a day, okay? So it's the same exact script. Oh, fake weapons of mass destruction, etc. And it's the same pro-Israel group that is telling us, including Fox News, Murdoch is a giant Israel first guy. All of his publications, Wall Street Journal, New York Post, Fox News, all like war, Israel, right? And so, and by the way, again, Guys, this isn't about religion. Rupert Murdoch's not Jewish. I don't know why he loves war so much and why he's so indebted to Israel, right? But he's been pushing this for over 20 years now. America must go to war for Israel, right? So that's why you're seeing the clips from Hannity. But John made a great point, both about Hannity and Shapiro. So they not only start out with like, oh, it's gonna be easy to, well, you're stupid if you think we're gonna put in ground troops, to you're stupid if you think we're not gonna put in ground troops. How are we gonna win without ground troops? You idiots, right? Wait, why are you yelling at me, right? Meaning the American people. And calling us idiots unless we agree to your agenda. And which one is it? Because both of you, Shapiro and Hannity, just said that if you think we're gonna put in ground troops, you're an idiot and a moron. Now you're both saying we should put in ground troops, so I guess you're an idiot and a moron. But of course they're not. It's the second option. Shapiro said moron or liar. So Shapiro is a giant liar. He's been a liar from day one. And you want to talk about liars? I mean, he's not going to be able to take the championship belt away from Sean Hannity. That guy has been plaguing us our whole lives.
Yeah. It's
steady stream of propaganda, war, right? And then every once in a while, when the Democrats are in charge, I'm anti-war. Are you? I've never seen anyone more pro-war in my life than Sean effing Hannity, right? So, and
Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, and did you notice last thing Shapiro was saying, like, it boggles my mind why anybody would say endless war. Month later, he's like, it needs to be an endless war. I mean, 20 years in Afghanistan didn't do it. Vietnam, we stayed too short. It's gotta be endless. You're either a liar or a moron if you don't want an endless war. No. You're an American if you don't want endless war. You're an Israeli if you do want endless war, and for America to pay that price for you in treasure and blood. Israel doesn't want to spare any of their soldiers.
The government.
Well, also the people, let's be honest. They 82% wanted this war, the war with Iran, the Israeli population. And they're like, okay, good, you want to fight it? They're like, no, that's why we have to sucker Americans. We're gonna have Shapiro and Hannity and everybody lie to them, and we're gonna trick them into another war. And then that way we could stay under Iron Dome and be totally fine that you suckers paid for. And then we're gonna push you into the meat grinder, which is exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, let's talk about that meat grinder actually. And by the way, Sean Hannity, he's an older guy. Ben Shapiro's young. I'm pretty sure he's younger than me. They just raised the age of enlistment. If you love this war so much, grab a rifle, stand a post. You can join up. You can go participate in this war that you think is so goddamn noble and so goddamn necessary. You can go participate in this right now. Why is it that you think that you should sit in your air-conditioned studio and tell other people to go overseas and die, and to send their kids overseas and die? Why are you so goddamn ready to tell people that you will never meet that they should die for a thing that you can barely articulate? In any event, a lot of people are already being sent over. In addition to, let's see, we had thousands of Marines. We had the 82nd went over, so we had paratroopers. Now they're talking about potentially sending an additional 10,000 troops to the Middle East. So 5,000 Marines, thousands of paratroopers. Nancy Mace implied that the administration, she went to a briefing, came out and said that she was even more sure that they were gonna do boots on the ground, and she was even more against it based on what they had said about how that might go. She was already 100% against it. Now she's more against it because of how they might be used. And Mike Johnson wasn't happy about that. Take a look.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace came out of a classified briefing and seemed to reveal some of what was reportedly discussed about possible ground operations in Iran. There's people who ask, why should the administration brief Congress when Congress can't keep a secret? Are there any punishments for Congresswoman Mace in this instance?
Well, it is not lawful to leak classified information. I'm not suggesting that's what Nancy did there, but it is a problem. I mean, we had a big briefing for all House members in the Congressional Auditorium, and it's a lower level of classification because some of these things are so sensitive, and there is a breach of trust here. And that's a problem for the institution and something we need to address in the long run, because we've got to get back to these. The secrecy is important, especially at a time of international conflict.
That was Brett Baer volunteering to Mike Johnson that Nancy Mace, who is better representing the anti-war sentiment out there amongst her constituents, the American people, he suggested to Mike Johnson she should be punished. I mean, he phrased it as a question, but Mike Johnson didn't bring that up. The media, who should presumably want as much information as possible so they can do the job of making sure that people know what's going on. Instead, he wants more secrecy. He wants to clamp down on the leaks.
Yeah, I got to jump in on that, John. Sorry, just real quick. So two parts of that. Number one, there is no one that works at Fox News. It's just Rupert Murdoch, right? Murdoch hires them and pays $5 million a year, $20 million a year, $40 million a year, right? And he goes, you are to say these exact things. So there is no news going on at Fox News. Okay, and Murdoch always wants war. So if Nancy Mace is going to be against war, Bret Baier is going to come out and go, now shouldn't she be punished for saying something that might prevent the ground troops? Punish her, right? Now, if she had come out and leaked something, which she didn't do, but had done the same exact thing, but said she was in favor of the ground troops, Bret Baier would not have asked that question. He would have been very positive. Well, as you see, Nancy Mace is saying we need ground troops. Don't we need ground troops, Mike Johnson? Don't we need to start this war? Did I do it well, Rupert? Did I do it well? Okay. So that's the game is being played on you. And the good news is now there's online media, so they can't play the game nearly as well. So they're not punishing her because she might have revealed something. They're trying to punish her because without her, by the way, this is really important, they don't have enough votes for the War Powers Resolution. And as we explained to you on yesterday's show, that's why the traitor Democrats are not pushing the War Powers Resolution vote because they would win it right now and it would end the war.
They don't want to win.
And they don't want to. And that's why I talk about the Iraq war, guys, because these days are actually, believe it or not, better. A lot of the American people are totally against this war, and there's online media that lets you know about this hypocrisy and that breaks this stuff down. Back then, it was the Young Turks and Amy Goodman screaming into the abyss, and CNN would come and back up Sean Hannity, and New York Times would go, oh yeah, weapons of mass destruction, must go to war for Israel. No, wipe that out, white out. Must go to war for America, right? And then no matter how much you showed their hypocrisy, they would say, oh no, radicals that don't want war and think it won't be easy, right? So these are all tried and true tactics, but I don't want you to lose track of the fact that we're busting them up, right? So now there's a whole new paradigm where nobody believes this BS unless you're like a boomer watching Fox News and you're like 98 and you're like, yeah, I think we wanted war, didn't we? Wait, for what? Because Israel's a special ally and they love Jesus or something? Right?
Well, so in terms of the troops, so now they're considering 10,000 more troops. We keep getting told,
of course,
leaks from the White House, Trump statements, oh, victory is on the precipice. We can close this thing down really fast. And Ben Shapiro, I loved his little bit where he was like, well, I mean, we can't, there's no way to end it. We can't just leave. That's exactly what we could do. We could turn around and leave right now. It'd be super simple to do that, but he doesn't want that to happen. And news just came out right before we did the show. Marco Rubio is now telling our allies 4 to 6 more weeks. That was the entire original duration.
And remember, they've said
being added on.
And all throughout, Hegseth would come out and go, oh, we're ahead of schedule. This is going so quick. We're so ahead of, you said 3 to 4 weeks in the beginning, Trump said, then he went to 4 to 5 weeks, then it went to 4 to 6 weeks, and now we're adding another 4 to 6 weeks. God help us if we were behind schedule. This is when we're ahead of schedule? So wait, if we're ahead of schedule, then you were lying in the beginning, right?
Yeah, or you're incompetent. And also, if people like Ben Shapiro are saying, well, we can't just leave because then they'll have the Strait of Hormuz, the geographical formation right next to their country or whatever. We could have never seen it coming that they would control that. What are they gonna be saying when we land 10,000 troops, 75 of them die, or 113 of them die, or,
I know exactly
or 800 die? Well, we obviously can't leave now.
Of course, that's what they're gonna say. So guys, understand how the trap is being laid, right? So number one, when you look at their, as we told you, easy. Oh, well, we gotta stay a little longer, but have patience, right? And then, oh my God, they killed our guys, can you believe it? So look, in terms of what is our goals, they can't even define a single goal that we have in this war. So that's why they keep talking in generalities, because there is somebody who has a goal in this war, and that's Israel. It's regime change. But we said we did not sign up for regime change, so we're totally goalless. Like we say, oh, destroy their navy, we did. Destroy their air force, we did. Destroy their nuclear facilities, we did. Destroy the leaders in the regime. We killed all 49 of them, and then we added more and more bodies to that death count. So then what else is left to do except await Israel's next instructions. And that is literally what we're doing here. And so the idea that once the guys die, like Ben Shapiro and Sean Hannity are gonna turn around and go, oh wait, we didn't know that we were gonna use ground troops and we didn't know that they were gonna die. No, we should come home, right? Of course they're not gonna do that. What they're gonna do, and I guarantee it is, the evil Iranians, for no reason at all, killed our troops that happened to land on their territory. And now that they've killed 12 of them, 120 of them, that's it. We got to stay longer than Vietnam and Afghanistan combined, right? This isn't about Israel, not at all. Americans are dead. No, when Americans die, which by the way, they already have 13 dead, you know who you should blame? 100% Israel. They're the ones who drove us into this war, no doubt about it. Not one, Joe Kent said it again last night in the interview. There's no question, we have no objectives in this war. It's just our politicians who are disgustingly corrupt, and so much of our mainstream media that is disgustingly corrupt, that is driving us into the war for a different country. We have no interest in it at all. And to John's point, we can't leave, they closed the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, here's how the deal you make. It's the easiest thing in the world. Hey, Iran, we're gonna leave. You're only gonna have Israel to deal with. Don't attack the Gulf countries that are our allies. Don't attack us, and reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and then you and Israel figure it out. Iran would take that deal in a second.
Yeah.
Okay, we could make that deal and we could leave. The only people that are bothered by that deal are the Israelis. Good. I want them bothered. They already cost us 13 dead Americans. They're planning to cost us hundreds more dead Americans, all on behalf of a foreign government that is fascist. And we'd like to build our, as Netanyahu just said like a week ago, we could become a regional or global superpower after this war. Why is it our responsibility to make a fascist state a global superpower? So this is disgusting, has nothing to do with America, and they're gonna get those poor guys killed, and once they do, here, we'll guarantee it now, and then we'll play you the clip afterwards. They'll say, well, now that the Americans are dead, and way more of them, you have to fight Iran longer. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.